Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. As-Salâmu Alaykum. In this video, we delve into the heart of the story of the Prophet Sâlih, aleyhi salam, that noble messenger of Allah sent to the people of Thamûd. We deeply explore his prophetic mission, the foundations of his call to the exclusive worship of the Creator, as well as the mystical and highly symbolic relationship he maintained with the she-camel, a manifest and miraculous sign granted by Allah. This narrative, both spiritual and edifying, sheds light on the subtle dimensions of the bond between the Prophet and this extraordinary animal, while emphasizing the lessons to be drawn from his people's response to this divine miracle through the profound teachings of Seydi Mouhamed El Sheikh. Allah, exalted be He, recorded in his book a singular reality concerning Sâlih alayhi salam, a divine arrangement of rare subtlety. From the realm of the Ghaib, the unseen, Sâlih alayhi salam was prepared for the prophetic mission, and the essence of prophethood was instilled in him long before his arrival in the earthly world. However, it was only at the age of 16, after his birth on this earth, that the Most High Lord formally entrusted him with the responsibility to carry out his mission. From his earliest childhood, the elders of the people of Thamûd, to whom he belonged, discerned in him nothing but praiseworthy virtues. He was renowned, among other things, for his exceptional wisdom and natural uprightness. This is why, when he rose to call his people to the exclusive worship of God, the elders of Thamûd replied to him in these terms: "We have never observed the slightest flaw in you, but if you now claim to be a messenger of God, then you are lying." As a reminder, the Thamûd had settled in mountains, where they had dug and built their dwellings with great architectural mastery. However, despite their expertise, they had indulged in idolatry by venerating an unoccupied flank of the mountain which they considered a deity. When Sâlih alayhi salam came to challenge these entrenched beliefs, his people struggled to accept that a young man would question religious traditions passed down through generations. Despite this fierce resistance, he persisted with constancy and determination in conveying the divine message, continuing until the venerable age of 120 years. One day, his people confronted him and demanded that he provide tangible proof of his claims. However, they were unaware that what they demanded of him was intimately tied to the very structure of his prophetic mission. In truth, regarding the orchestration of Sâlih's aleyhi salam prophethood from the realm of the Ghaib, when the divine command was given for him to begin his mission at 16 years old, certain celestial voices expressed reservations about his ability to assume such a responsibility at such a young and still premature age. Thus, Allah, exalted be He, joined to him a being from the animal kingdom, a she-camel. Indeed, God had prepared in the unseen world a white she-camel destined to accompany Sâlih in his mission. It was she who transmitted to him the celestial information related to his prophetic task. Had this concerned a wali or saint, it would have been said that a nawamis, or an angel, had been assigned to him, tasked with following him and informing the unseen world about the progress of his mission. In this same logic, God, in his wisdom, entrusted this she-camel with the role of mediator between Sâlih and the realm of the unseen. However, this she-camel remained invisible to human eyes, as she resided in a batin dimension, that is, a hidden realm concealed from ordinary perception. When Prophet Sâlih reached the venerable age of 120 years, only a few individuals among his people had embraced his message. One day, some elders among the notables of his people summoned him and said, "If you are truly a prophet authentically sent by God, then bring forth from this flank of the cliff we venerate a living camel." In response to their request, Prophet Sâlih alayhi salam raised his finger toward the mountain and ordered the invisible she-camel accompanying him to manifest herself. Then a radiant white she-camel emerged from the cave before their astonished eyes. Thereafter, Allah, in His mercy, blessed this she-camel to such an extent that the entire people of Thamûd could drink abundantly from her milk without the animal's udders sagging or drying up. However, the elders who opposed him noticed that, since the appearance of this she-camel, the number of Sâlih's followers had greatly increased. Even more, they observed that whenever the she-camel stood beside the Prophet, everything he uttered was immediately met with acceptance, which was not the case in her absence. It was as if the mere presence of the she-camel literally hypnotized the audience, to the point that all unreservedly accepted Sâlih's words. They then understood that a profound mystery was tied to this extraordinary animal, and in truth, they were not mistaken. The milk of this blessed she-camel was infused with a spiritual light that, upon entering the hearts of those who drank it, and illuminated them inwardly and allowed them to grasp the sermons of Prophet Sâlih with clarity. Thus, realizing the central role of this she-camel in the Prophet's mission, his adversaries conspired and declared, "Indeed, it was we ourselves who demanded this she-camel, but since it strengthens Sâlih's mission favorably, we must make it disappear." When this criminal plot reached Sâlih's ears, he solemnly warned them and declared, "You use this well for 6 days a week for your needs, while the she-camel uses it only 1 day. In addition to this, she provides you with abundant and inexhaustible milk that you freely consume." But they arrogantly replied that they no longer cared about her usefulness and were resolved to kill her permanently. Sâlih, aleyhi salam, then gravely retorted, "If you persist in killing this she-camel, then Allah's punishment will inevitably descend upon you." In reality, the Prophet had perceived through divine inspiration that the arrow strike they were about to inflict on the she-camel would not be interpreted as a mere act against an animal, but rather as a frontal attack against prophethood itself, and a deliberate provocation toward the divine will. The annihilation of the people of Thamûd was not solely the consequence of the murder of the blessed she-camel, but rather the result of an act that God regarded as a manifest provocation against the realm of the Ghaib. Indeed, their deed was seen as a desecration of the sanctity of Nubuwah, the prophetic mission of Sâlih, aleyhi salam, of which the she-camel was the visible and symbolic embodiment. Despite the Prophet's explicit warning, they proceeded and pierced the she-camel with an arrow. Subsequently, a man named Qadar, known as the most vile and brutal of the people of Thamûd, approached and severed her head with a sword stroke. Thus, the she-camel collapsed to the ground without even the strength to struggle, as if she had surrendered herself as an offering to the celestial decree. And at the very moment of her fall, Allah, exalted be He, withdrew the secret of prophethood from Sâlih that had resided within her. Then Prophet Sâlih solemnly declared to them, "You have committed a heinous crime and dared to provoke the heavens by killing this she-camel, who was by no means an ordinary animal." Nevertheless, in a final outpouring of mercy, Sâlih urged them to retreat to their homes for 3 days and to sincerely implore divine forgiveness. He still harbored hope of interceding with God to spare them his punishment. But blinded by arrogance and obstinacy, they rejected this salvific proposal and, in senseless defiance, said to Sâlih, "If what you say is true, then bring down upon us the punishment with which you threaten us." They thus publicly refused to withdraw during the prescribed 3 days, thereby sealing their fate. Then Allah, in His justice, ordered Sâlih to leave the city, along with the believers who had followed him, for the time of punishment had come for the Thamûd. As soon as Sâlih departed, the Lord sent the archangel Jibril, aleyhi salam, who descended above the city and let out a celestial cry of immeasurable power. This cry caused the earth to tremble to its core, triggering an earthquake of extreme violence that pulverized the rock-carved dwellings. All were buried under rubble and collapsing rock, annihilated instantly. A few survivors, wounded and dying, still lay on the ground. But God then sent Mikael, aleyhi salam, who addressed them in a thunderous voice, expressing both celestial astonishment at their audacity and divine reproach for the ignominy of their deed. Suddenly, from his mouth sprang forth incandescent saliva that transformed into a gigantic thunderclap, a celestial lightning strike of devastating intensity that struck them all, carbonizing and reducing them to nothingness. Thus Allah, exalted be He, utterly destroyed the people of Thamûd, for He does not approve that mere mortals defile the sanctity of prophethood, nor that they dare defy the celestial order through arrogance and irreverence. We have reached the end of the story of Prophet Sâlih. Thank you for your attention and see you soon. As-Salâmu Alaykum wa rahmatullah.